Welcome back to Strawberry Ink. Today, we're diving into the story of Dr. William Husel, a former critical care physician from Mount Carmel West Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. A story of medicine, tragedy, and the consequences of a high-profile legal battle. William Husel was a respected ICU physician caring for critically ill and terminal patients. But between 2015 to 2018, hospital administrators noticed a troubling pattern. Several patients had been dying shortly after Husel ordered high doses of fentanyl, a powerful opioid. By late 2018, Mount Carmel publicly fired him, citing excessive and potentially fatal dosing in at least 34 patients. His medical license was revoked. The fallout did not stop with Husel. 9 nurses and 3 pharmacists were suspended for a year, and later a total of 20 nurses were fired. 5 managers and 2 CEOs resigned. The Ohio BCI launched a criminal investigation. By August 2021, Husel's license was permanently revoked. A total of 40 were tied to the scandal. 3 pharmacists were also fired. That is how the hospital and the Ohio Medical Board took care of it. But then, it was time for the criminal justice system to intervene. In 2019, Franklin County prosecutors presented evidence to a grand jury, mainly the DA, Ron O'Brien. This resulted in Husel being indicted by the grand jury at the Columbus Court of Common Pleas on 25 counts of unclassified murder. Once O'Brien unsealed the indictment, Husel surrendered at the Columbus Police Headquarters, the building right next to the city's federal court. From there, he was booked into the Jackson Pike jail. O'Brien assigned prosecutor Paula Sawyers to take care of the case from this point. And Husel's private attorney, Richard Blake, who walked him into the headquarters, would go on to grow the defense team, having more attorneys be hired in his favor. In particular, the head, Jose Baez, a well-known private defense lawyer from Florida. Husel's family did what they could to fight for his freedom. They sold everything they had in order to pay for the defense. And on the other hand, Paula Sawyers was not the only prosecutor in the case. More state attorneys joined in to grow the prosecution as well. Before Judge Jiza Page, Husel pleaded not guilty to the charges. He was shortly after released on a $1 million bond. Before trial, Judge Michael Holbrook of the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas dropped 11 charges due to a lack of evidence. The trial began on February 22, 2022 before this judge, and after weeks of testimony, on April 20th, 2022, the jury, consisting of 12 members and 6 alternates, reached a verdict. They struggled to do so, but instead of quitting, Judge Michael Holbrook ordered that they continue deliberating until they reach a decision. William Husel was found not guilty on all of the remaining charges. The jurors then claimed that the prosecution confused them. Afterward, he sought to reinstate his medical license and get his job back, but the Ohio Medical Board denied the request, permanently banning him from practicing medicine. Husel faced 31 wrongful death lawsuits involving him. 2 nurses, 2 pharmacists, Trinity Health, and Mount Carmel were also tied to the lawsuit as defendants. Most were settled outside of court, while others were dismissed due to a lack of evidence. 3 of them were settled in April 2019. A month after that, 5 more were settled. Another month after that, 7 were settled. Those are 15 we just covered. Then in November 2022, 8 more were settled. That's 23. All 23 matters were handled outside of court. Then in January 2023, 6 more were settled outside of court. That's 29. The following month, 1 more was settled outside of court. Then lastly, there was 1 left. The 31st wrongful death lawsuit. This one was heard at the Common Pleas Court, but Judge Richard Fry dismissed it due to a lack of evidence. At this point, the plaintiff was not working the case anymore. In December 2019, William Husel sued Trinity Health, Mount Carmel, and his hospital, as well as their CEO, Edward Lamb, for defamation. He went to trial in June 2025, seeking $18 million in damages, claiming that there were clinical errors in the hospital and that the hospital intentionally blamed him to get away with it while he was innocent. However, on the 16th day of that month, Judge Stephen McLintosh of the Common Pleas Court dismissed the lawsuit completely due to a lack of evidence. In April 2023, Husel sued Trinity Health for malicious prosecution, believing they had participated in the painkiller scandal and falsely accused him of being responsible, prompting that criminal investigation which would send him to court in the first place. He sought $20 million in damages, and the matter took place within the Eastern District of Michigan. It was federal. Hello?
Hi, this is Victoria from Senior Financial Solutions. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Based on my records, you may qualify for the state-regulated final expense insurance plan that's going to cover 100% of your funeral, burial, and cremation expenses. Now, are you between the ages of 45 and 80?
Yes.
Please hold while I transfer your call.
Thank you so much for holding on the line.
Oh, sorry about that. The uncle interrupted me. However, the following year in March, Judge Stephen Murphy III of the Detroit Federal Court dismissed the lawsuit also due to a lack of evidence. This took place in 2024. This scandal took a big toll on William Husel and his family. His 2 daughters would go to school worried about their dad never coming back home and being handcuffed away. The family sold their Dublin, Ohio home and moved into a small, cluttered home in the greater Columbus area. They welcomed a baby boy shortly after his acquittal. The family is William Husel, his wife, who was one of the nurses fired and is now working minimum wage jobs, their 2 daughters, and the baby boy. The 5 of them sleep in the small home's living room together, with coats hung on the floor and a pile of shoes on the ground, mostly consistent of the daughter's shoes. Husel suffers from PTSD, severe depression, and motor skill issues. He helps care for their baby son during the day. The 2 daughters get ready for school by themselves, wearing casual clothes and slip-on shoes. They only get to wear socks with those shoes on colder days, or if they really need them for school. They've been left to grow up independently. The mother is at work most of the day. The family is relying on Medicaid and food stamps. Financially, the family had to spend life savings and sell nearly everything to cover that legal defense. William Husel's story is a stark reminder on how high-pressure medicine can intersect with tragedy, how media scrutiny and legal battles can reshape a family's life, and how even after a criminal acquittal, personal and financial consequences can be long-lasting. It's a story of medical ethics, law, and the human cost behind headlines. That's it for today's episode of Strawberry Ink. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe for more episodes covering the intersection of crime, law, and personal stories behind the headlines. Thank you for listening, and may all the victims rest in peace, and good luck to this family. Goodbye.